second. How's it going, everybody? My name is BATTLE. He is the Zombie Games. We are your Crypt Keepers, and we are the Undead Pair. And welcome back to today's tale.
Today we are going to be reacting to Magneto versus
Tetsuo.
Akira.
Tetsuo is from an anime / manga called Akira. I've never seen it. I was tempted on seeing it because it is available on Funimation, because from what I heard, it is a really good anime movie to watch. However, I didn't want to get spoiled about his abilities, to be honest, so I just decided to wait. Because from the looks of it, it's pretty good, and I would honestly recommend it. But on the thought of versus Magneto, he's gonna die. Tetsuo's gonna die. Sad to say. Because I've looked up feats on these two, and the only best feat that we got for Tetsuo is that he's possibly capable of destroying the planet, but Magneto is capable of moving entire planets across the entire solar system with his magnetic abilities. So what the fuck is Tetsuo gonna do?
We'll see. Without further ado, let's get into this.
Also, we gotta keep in mind that Magneto's ability isn't about just moving objects, it's about electromagnetism. He's able to control anything with electromagnetism in it, so keep that in mind.
Go to 5 seconds.
Alright. Okay. Right?
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, if you're wondering who you think we're gonna win, it's Magneto.
Magneto, Marvel's mutant master of magnetism.
Tetsuo Shima, Akira's telekinetic terror of Neo-Tokyo.
These two maestros of kinesis have ignited revolution not just in their worlds, but also the very mediums they exist within.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
In the short duration of modern civilization, likely no conflict tested humanity more than the Second World War. In the primary Marvel 616 universe, this fact is no different, especially to the Eisenhart family and their only son.
You may know him as Magnus, Eric, or Max, but if you ask him, he'd say his true name is Magneto.
As a Jewish child in Nazi Germany, Magneto's early life was, well, extremely traumatic.
Even after eventually escaping
Wooden
certain
guns.
death with his
He
future
dislikes
wife,
wooden guns.
misfortune always followed wherever he went.
Thanks to his
I
unexpected
guess he
mutation
can't
called
exactly,
the X gene,
you know,
the mark of
control
a
wood, I guess.
superhuman. After settling down in Russia with his new family, the KGB quickly found out about this quirk, so they burned his house down with his own daughter inside.
Oof.
Naturally, he snapped and killed them all. I don't blame him, I'd do that too. Too bad his wife didn't get it and ditched him though. But that's when Magneto made a choice. Since humans hurt him his entire life, he'd do the same to them in the name of mutants everywhere.
At first, Magneto turned to the telepathic powerhouse Charles Xavier and his fledgling team of heroes. But his new friend wasn't thrilled with the idea of, subjugating the human race. So, Magneto formed his own team of mutants, the Brotherhood.
Magneto can telekinetically move, bend, and reshape any metal he's aware of. Bullets, vehicles, buildings, you name it. Even himself when he manipulates his personal magnetic field for flight and energy barriers.
Magnetic kinesis is far more versatile than it would appear at first glance. The blood in your body has iron in it. The air has traces of lead and mercury. Whole mountains are lined
I didn't even
with
mention the
metallic
blood because
ore.
I didn't know if
the
he was
Earth itself is
magnetically possible
surrounded
enough
by
to
a
move the blood,
literal
but I guess he is.
magnetic field.
So many toys for Maggie to play with. He can detect magnetic fields at such a huge range, he can even pinpoint Earth's magnetic rays while stranded on a planet in another galaxy.
Damn.
And guess what? He was able to use those rays to pull himself back to Earth in a single day.
His range is even
Yeah,
more
that's what I
remarkable than
thought.
that. Did you know that in 1820, physicist Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents, like those of electrons and protons and atoms, produce their own magnetic fields? Magneto can fine-tune his control to affect these very subatomic particles. Dummy here will illustrate such a particle, with positively charged protons and negative electrons.
My life is as meaningless as an atom is small.
So what you're saying is Magneto could, like, yank one of those out.
Correct, potentially changing an atom's entire chemical makeup. However, neutrons do not have a charge, and without the ability to adjust those to accommodate the change in atomic mass, the atom would become unstable and
Finally!
do that. Magneto's violent protest against humankind clashed with Xavier's peaceful reconciliation, not unlike the ideologies taught by Malcolm X and Dr. King, by whom Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were inspired. Magneto would spend most of his career pushing Xavier away to prove his philosophies superior, which meant doing battle with Xavier's
I don't know if they ever did talk to
quite
each other
literally.
in the actual
And
history,
Baldy's mind powers are no joke.
least
But
as far as
thanks
I
to
know.
Magneto's psionic repelling helmet, Professor X couldn't touch him. Magneto survived Cyclops' earth-splitting lasers, absorbed the power of the sun to battle Iron Man,
Apocalypse.
ripped the adamantium skeleton out of Wolverine's body, and even
yes,
taken on Hercules himself. You know, the Greek legend, Zero to Hero? The guy who held up the skies of Olympus for Atlas? That Hercules.
Seems sensible. Magneto once used the Earth's magnetic field to overwhelm the Phoenix Force, which can effortlessly destroy planets, let alone far more.
Hell, if he really wanted to, Magneto could totally just fling the Earth off its axis.
It's entirely possible he may have eventually resorted to just that. Over time, it became clear Magneto's war was doing far more harm than good for his fellow mutants, however well-intentioned he may have been at first.
Luckily, he later realized he was going a bit overboard and began reevaluating his perspective. Good for you, Mags. It's really tough to recognize when you're the baddie.
It took time and patience not just from Magneto, but also from his peers. Yet eventually, his path was completely changed. He even became a leader for Xavier's X-Men.
But don't let his new goody two-shoes ways fool you. Whenever there's a threat to mutants, you can bet Magneto will be there to annihilate it. Forever, by any means necessary.
Yeah, because he's an anti-hero. He
This
keeps
episode of
changing.
Death Battle is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Alright.
Or
Skipping the ad. Head to 619.
no.
Well, obviously Magneto has a bunch of shit up his ass, so let's see what kind of shit this guy has up his ass. Okay, you ready?
You ready?
3.
3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
Over 30 years ago, a new type of bomb was set off over Tokyo, and 9 hours later, began the Third World War.
Welcome to 2030, or 2019 if you're watching the anime. The buildings are taller, the motorcycles are cooler, and the future is brighter. Oh, wait, not really. If you find yourself in the Capsule Gang, you'll meet Shotaro Kaneda, who's like your textbook anime Chad. Gets the ladies, beats the baddies, and cops the sweetest rigs. Man, I need to get me one of those.
And then there's the little brother of the group, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima. He's, well...
The exact opposite. A total wimp. As a kid, Tetsuo in his college thesis forehead got bullied for being the new kid at the orphanage. That's until Big Bro Kaneda came to the rescue.
Eventually, the two
I mean, he
went to
does have a
vocational
big-ass
school
forehead.
together and
He does have a
formed the
big-ass forehead.
Capsules. But Tetsuo was never satisfied with Kaneda being the leader of the pack. Tetsuo desired more than anything to be top dog.
Oh, I can just see that monkey's paw curling in my mind. Or that kid walking down the street. Shit! Tetsuo, watch out! You're gonna... That definitely should have killed him. But since it didn't, Tetsuo earned himself a ticket to military
pause. Wait, he survived that massive explosion without much... with just a drop of blood coming out of his mouth?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Don't ask me how. I don't
Talk
know.
about some insane durability. Jesus. I just wanted to point that out there.
That was
That's-
him without powers, by the way, I don't think.
Yeah, because, I don't know, because if he had powers,
Wasn't
he would have...
born with them.
I don't know. That's just weird. I just need to point that out there. So sorry about that. Okay, let's continue. 3,
3, 2,
2, 1, go.
confinement. Turns out they had an under-the-table program for developing child superweapons.
In the same program that backfired and jump-started the war, Tetsuo became Japan's Esper number 41.
He may not have been a natural with bikes, baddies, or babes, but this telekinesis stuff hit different. He walked out of that hospital ward effortlessly flying, reading minds, and blending people into strawberry jelly. Tetsuo got what he wanted. Power, along with the hunger for more of it.
A hunger that used to only be satiated with drugs. And not just any gateway drug, pills so potent that a single gram of the stuff could kill you.
So, pretty bad. Kinda reminds me of college days, huh, Snow Wizard?
Tetsuo's main ability is his constantly increasing psionic energy, growing more and more powerful over time. This is due to Tetsuo's link to, quote, the memories of the universe, end quote. It's weird.
What?
Either way,
fuck does
Tetsuo
that
leveled
mean?
up from lame gangbuster to certified badass. This guy is a walking
Promoting
natural
human-
disaster.
Wait,
His
what?
telekinesis can shake the planet,
memories of the
easily cause
universe?
earthquakes over a dozen miles below the surface. He can summon
Does that mean he's
psychic barriers
capable
for
of
defense
using
and
the
crush
energy from
foes
the Big
with
Bang,
friggin'
though?
gravity wells. He can dart around as a literal bolt of lightning, or even teleport in an
Probably
instant.
not.
Tetsuo's telekinesis can be so precise he can target and obliterate specific parts of the body. He can heal severe wounds quickly, but even after losing a whole limb, he can craft a new one using whatever nearby materials
Oh yes,
he
put a
wants.
metal arm in your
With
body.
these
See how
powers,
that
Top
does.
Dog
for your
Canada
blood.
didn't matter anymore. Who needed his approval? Tetsuo tasted that
Fuck him
good
up right
shit and he
away.
was
Put a
hooked.
metal arm in
And
his
when he
body,
found out
Magneto's just
another
gonna
expert
fucking
named
get the
Akira
entire
had
metal arm
even
into his
more
body.
power,
Yeah,
he
but it's not just
rampaged
metal.
through
It
Tokyo
can
to
be
find
anything,
him.
though.
And
No, I
this is
know.
where
Like a
versions of
stone
the
So
arm
I'm
or
just wondering
one
what
arm.
the fuck they're
Spoilers
thinking.
ahoy!
You may be familiar with the 1988 animation, where Akira had been dissected for research. However, in the original manga, Akira is not only alive, but even more powerful.
Once that little runt nuked Tokyo, Tetsuo would erect the Great Tokyo Empire with Akira and himself as its leaders. But he ended up just abusing the position for endless sex and inflating his ego.
With Kanada's rebellion at his front door, Tetsuo took a turn for the worse. He had to fight.
Tetsuo's defeated other powerful espers, dodged light-speed lasers, and jumped to the moon faster than anyone could blink, and then punched a big old hole in it. And if you ask, Boomstick, wouldn't that mess up gravity on Earth? You would be right, because it totally did. Screwed the planet, I guess. Stupid moon.
Which brings us to Tetsuo's folly. His abuse of his powers spiraled until he lost control. Unfortunately for Kanada's rebellion, this did not make Tetsuo an easier enemy to confront. Exactly opposite, in fact, has Tetsuo painfully mutated into an unstoppable behemoth.
What the fuck?
Yep,
Whoa.
that's not totally disturbing at all.
Oh,
I'm happy to say the
That's
manga's version
disgusting.
is even more disturbing.
I mean, I know babies can be monsters, but that's a whole nother level.
It is pain incarnate. I can relate.
Oh,
Another Esper
that's
described
disgusting.
Tetsuo's struggle as ego death, which has multiple definitions, but in this case is likely symbolic of the version attributed to drug use.
Yeah, it's described as a shedding of one's own identity, like how LSD can emulate a wild out-of-body experience, and you come back with a new
I know about
perspective.
out-of-body
Though
experiences.
this is maybe a little more extreme. In fact, you could say Tetsuo was shedding his human body to play with the powers of a god.
I wish I could shed
What?
out of my body. But in this case, Tetsuo going full out of body meant becoming a mound of raw, ever-expanding energy.
Which almost nuked Tokyo all over again. And those explosions are not normal. I would know.
Top scientists in both the manga and animated versions describe these explosions as births of a new universe.
Big Bangs?
Given its properties of nuclear fusion and proton
Well,
collapse,
I'm pretty sure it's
Tetsuo's
Magneto's
mutated
right, though.
form was likely creating a Big Bang.
You know, the thing that started our whole universe?
Right, in the manga, it instead ended the Espers and their abilities once and for all. A testament that humankind is unsuited to wield the powers of the divine.
Though the anime's even more trippy. Thanks to Akira and his buddies, Tetsuo got so high on ego death, he ascended time-space to become god of a new universe.
Tetsuo
Kinda
obtained
worked
against
it, right?
against
And
the
yet,
manga. It cannot be
Kanada
applied
kept
to an
his
arbitrary
empire
level
up
of power.
in his honor.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now is the great Akira Empire. Ironically, in death, Tetsuo finally received the attention he so desperately craved.
This episode of Death Battle
Okay, I will say while being able to theoretically be able to make a Big Bang is impressive, I don't think that he could be able to capitalize on it on Magneto in any in particular form, I think. At least that's what I'm thinking. So that being said, I still think the same is gonna happen, Magneto's gonna win.
Yeah,
Because
I
if he
think
just puts a
Magneto's
metal
gonna
arm
win.
on his body, he can just easily just put the metal spikes into his fucking body.
And if we're just saying this now, let's face it. Most Marvel characters are pretty busted.
Yeah,
There's-
so it kind of makes
there's-
zero sense for them to put him up against someone like Akira or Tetsuo or whatever the hell.
There's no one in Marvel that I can safely say is not busted. They somehow even made Iron Man. They made versions of Iron Man that are completely busted, aka like Superior Iron Man and shit. And that's just a dude in a suit.
The same can be said for Batman, man. Come on.
What?
Same can be said for Batman.
I know. They've given him some overpowered things like the Hellbat suit. Just comics in general, most of the characters are busted.
Yeah, definitely. That being said, I hope the battle's alright, but...
Got a 1325.
Alright.
That dips the ad.
Alright, I'm there.
But yeah, since superhero comic book characters are pretty busted.
Nah, we think
And-
Magneto's gonna win this.
Yes, because Magneto has no weakness. He ain't no Superman.
Well, I mean, not necessarily weakness. If Tetsuo can theoretically figure out that he has to use metal, meaning if he could just read his mind, but obviously with that helmet on, it's going to be impossible. And plus, if Magneto's able to resist mind manipulation from Professor X and Emma Frost, who we've heard on Death Battle before, Emma Frost, then I think it's safe to say that Tetsuo's abilities aren't going to really be able to do anything. But if Tetsuo is theoretically able to figure out that he can't control wood, then he could probably theoretically be able to just toss wooden spikes at him constantly, I would say.
But there's, yeah. I mean...
But I don't think that's going to happen, like I said. And plus, you gotta keep in mind the experience. Magneto has been using his powers for years and years and years. Tetsuo has only used his powers for the time span of, I think, a couple of weeks.
I don't know exactly how long, but all I know
Yeah, I
is...
don't know exactly how long. I don't know how long the manga lasted, and I don't know how long the anime movie lasted, so...
But yeah. But the feat of... He might...
Okay, well, okay, let's just put it like this. The only way for Tetsuo to be able to use the Big Bang energy is that he needs to go into that ego death state, or whatever the fuck.
No, not that. There's one way he could read Magneto's mind.
What's that?
If his mind reading ability is more powerful than Mr. X, because
How do I know that?
The only reason I'm saying that is because of I can't say because you haven't fucking seen the movie, motherfucker.
Then you can't. So nice try.
Yeah, but it's a feat that
They probably brought it up, maybe.
No, they won't. They haven't because it doesn't exactly correlate to
Magneto.
Magneto, but it has to do with Mr. X. Not Mr. X, fucking.
Well, isn't he old in that one? Well, isn't he old in that one? He's not really in his prime.
In what?
In this movie you're talking about. You talking about Multiverse of Madness here? That Professor X is old. Shouldn't we go to, like, more ones that are more powerful? Try to compare that. You know what I mean?
True, but that one is still hard. Let's just get on with the battle.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So, Magneto.
Magneto. 3, 2,
1.
Go.
Right, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
I'm excited for this one. I'm also
It's time
excited to
for
see
a
who's next.
death battle!
Yeah,
Let's see how this starts. This is gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Even in Japan, they fail to recognize our superiority.
Wrong country, Grandpa! You're in Akira turf now!
Yeah. Alright, this is cool.
You're dead meat!
You can just turn it back, because battle sign.
The hell are you calling child? I make the rules around here!
Ah shit, rocks and shit.
Rocks, you'll have cobalt and all that stuff. Mercury. All the kinds of metal shit that you would expect.
You're wasting my time.
Ah shit.
But he already lost his arm?
Parlor tricks for the master of magnetism.
I guess that is true of the Shannon battle.
I'll kill you! Your history, scumbag!
No, he isn't. Come on.
No, Magneto's gonna come back.
Magneto, he has a metal arm. Please just use that against him, please. Did he just block out his forehead?
And a scream.
Huh. I'll give him that much. He uses his big forehead for something. Whoa! He'll be able to easily pick that up. Nah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He can still control metal. Come on, metal arm right there. Control it, Magneto. Yes!
I believe I've had enough tantrums to last a lifetime.
Come on!
I already knew he was gonna control that
Come on, Magneto.
I'm not gonna be mad either way. Not scared either way.
Oh god.
That is creepy. That reminds me of the baby from Resident Evil Village.
Hurts. Help me.
Come on, Magneto. You got this, Magneto. Come on. Yeah, come on. Come on.
I didn't say either way.
Come on, Magneto. Come on.
Poor child.
Oh. Thank God for that. I kind of knew that was going to happen.
You give them magnetize the power of a Big Bang.
Well, it's theoretically possible.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Oh, I was a little worried there, not gonna lie, but I'm glad he won. That was surprising to say the least. I didn't think the helmet would be taken off that easily.
And I didn't think it would end that way.
Pause it. Let's pause it.
I didn't think it would end that way, where they would thank each other.
Well, actually, it was Tetsuo that was thanking him, but that was probably just because he was suffering. And I honestly think that was actually pretty cool for them to add that. Okay, let's see what they have against each other. Okay, for Magneto, he's stronger, faster, and tougher. Magnesis, or whatever the hell, is counter to
Magnetic Jesus, so it's basically
Tetsuo's defense, and then magnetic senses counter Tetsuo's mobility. He has inferior healing options. I guess that actually is true. He actually hasn't shown to really heal himself in the past.
If he can't heal himself, Tetsuo can.
Tetsuo could potentially grow more powerful.
Eventually.
Eventually, but obviously he won't be able to get to that state. Now let's see what
Tetsuo could kill Magneto
without his shield.
Without a shield. Telekinesis had a broader range of effect.
That is true
because he can do anything.
Yeah, he can move anything. He can only move things with magnetic properties. Mm-hmm. Okay, though his application was less versatile and the telekinetic had a broader range of effect. Exertion risked bodily harm, which we saw, and then far less combat and tactical experience, again, because he's only used these powers for probably about like a couple months to a couple weeks, probably.
Yeah. Let's continue this, though.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, go.
Abilities certainly gave Magneto pause, but the Master of Magnetism had greater control over his foe.
The numbers don't lie. Tetsuo cratering the moon was insane, but Magneto punched Iron Man with the force of the sun. And while Tetsuo jumped all the way to the moon, Magneto could move across galaxies.
Against Tetsuo in his human form, Magneto obviously held a sizable advantage in power and speed.
But stats aren't all that matters. With his precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but Magneto had similar skills. There are very few substances on Earth that lack any metallic or magnetic component, and Magneto is very creative with his powers.
Which he could use to predict Tetsuo's teleportation and even shut down his telekinesis. And his scraps with Xavier prove he could handle Tetsuo's messing with his head.
See?
The biggest challenge for Magneto was when Tetsuo's gross mutated power came into play.
Especially given how the detonations from this form were compared to that of a Big Bang. Although the authenticity of that observation is questionable.
Yeah, exactly.
In truth, the Big Bang was a sudden expansion of matter on a universal scale, whereas Tetsuo's explosions are more akin to nuclear blasts, clearly intentional given the post-war symbolism of the Akira story.
Yeah.
The whole creating an alternate universe bit wasn't even part of the original material, so we can't exactly call it canon.
But let's just say the comparison wasn't superfluous. Let's say Tetsuo did in fact cause a Big Bang capable of creating or destroying an entire universe, alternate or otherwise.
Turns out Magneto had the tools to stop that too. Helmet Head could overpower Hercules, who was strong enough to hold up the skies of Olympus, which is literally heaven and an alternate universe.
This doesn't necessarily mean Magneto could easily destroy a universe with a snap of his fingers, but it does prove he can match a similar level of power. And context is everything. Tetsuo's Big Bang eruption specifically exhibited proton collapse, meaning its atomic structure was primarily an unstable mess of neutrons and electrons. And Magneto has detected and commanded unstable electrons before. This means Magneto had every means available to take control over this Big Bang.
Damn, and I thought he could just move some metal around. It's like the question posed by some of the greatest prophets of our time.
When it comes to Marvel comics, you can never just say they could just be just that.
How do they even work?
Magneto's astonishing power and intelligent control over all things magnetism triumphed in the end.
Yeah.
Tetsuo pushed
It wasn't a bad fight. I actually liked
it.
It definitely had me on edge there for a second.
The winner
Because I thought
is
that
Magneto.
the Big Bang was like going to be too much for Magneto. But I held out hope. I held out hope.
Thank you for watching this episode. If you'd
I'm
like
gonna
to
guess
grow
Boba
and
Fett,
support
because
the
that's the
whole
only character we
Battle
haven't
team,
seen
click that
yet.
join button and consider becoming a member. We'd really appreciate it. Hope you like the next one.
Hercules.
Yeah, I know who Hercules is.
And Sun Wukong. I have no idea? What? Sun who? Sun Wukong.
Monkey King.
From what?
Sun Wukong, aka the Monkey King.
So...
He's a Chinese sun god.
What? So we're basically dealing with two people of war. We're basically... What? I don't know. I'm kind of a bit cringing at this one. The reason why is just because who the fuck wanted this? Who the fuck?
Oh.
I mean, I know who Hercules is, so at the very least, yeah, but I don't know who the other fucker is. That being said...
Oh! Right. Come on.
What? What is it?
Let me look up something to make sure I'm actually saying this right. No, I'm actually excited.
Why?
You wanna know why?
Why?
This will actually get me more excited. You know who Sun Wukong is?
Who?
He's a monkey god. Who's a monkey? In anime, technically speaking. I'm not Frieza, but that's where Akira Toriyama got the idea for Goku. He's based off Sun Wukong. Yeah. Basically a sun monkey god of Chinese lore. So I want to know more about him because that's where he got the idea for Goku as like a character.
I guess we shall see. The battle comes out on the oh dang, but I'm gonna be busy on that day. It comes out on the 20th. I'm gonna be busy on that day. Kind of. I'll tell you. I'll tell you about it once after we're finished wrapping this up. That being said, what did you think of the fight?
I thought it was good.
Yeah. I thought it was good too. To be honest, it was a good fight.
Now I want to watch Akira. That looks interesting as shit.
I do want to watch Akira, especially with that fucking fuck up transformation. What the fuck was that?
That's so fucking ugly. Ugh.
So, that being said, the battle was good and I liked it. The only thing I just had an issue with is just that, again, it was just way too much for Tetsuo, and I think they could have maybe made it more balanced. I don't know if this is going to be as balanced, considering I know jack shit about the actual legitimate lore of Hercules. Because all I know is that he's from Greek, and I've only ever seen him in the God of War games, and that's it. So do not take any quotes off of me, please. Because obviously those games aren't canon to anything relative to, you know, Greek lore. In general. Anyways, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I did. It looked like it was pretty good. If you guys want to see more, hit the like button and subscribe today to see more as well. And as always, we will see you back for another tale.
Yep.